All right, folks, you are watching Downshift Pass. My name is Chad, and thank you for checking out another one of my reviews. Now, if you are new here, welcome. If you are not new here, welcome back to the channel. And let's go ahead and hop into today's review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this 2021 Toyota Camry XSE V6. All right, folks, so of course we're going to do a quick little walk around the Camry, talk about its styling, take a look at the interior. Then we're going to go on a drive as well as do an audio test, so make sure you stick around for that. If you're not familiar with the Toyota, I doubt you're not familiar with the Toyota Camry. Everybody knows this car. Everybody knows someone that has this car. But this one being the XSE with the V6, it's a little bit more special. Let's go ahead and dive into the styling. All right, folks, so of course, starting here at the front end, this is where you're going to notice some pretty small changes, minimal changes. It'll take a pretty keen eye to notice these changes, but the bottom half of the grille is all new for 2021. They have a honeycomb style grille now. In the previous generations, it was a little bit of a different look. Coming along to the headlights here, you have a new DRL shape. And the headlights, tail lights, as well as the daytime running lights are all LED. So at nighttime, it really lights up really well. You see those turn signals going, looks really good as well. So all LED up here. Overall, they haven't made too many major changes to the front end, but I still think it looks pretty good. It's held up well over time. All right, folks, so coming along to the side of the 2021 Camry, this is styling wise when you're gonna notice the most minimal changes. But let's focus on those wheels over here. This is brand new for 2021. It's a 235/40 series tire with a 19-inch rim. Such a small sidewall, especially for a Toyota vehicle, a Camry at that. All blacked out on the XSE version. Like I said, it's a brand new style as well, and I think it looks really, really good. Coming along here, you have your body colored mirrors as well as a turn signal on the mirror. And then you have a spoiler sunroof up top as well. Hit that subscribe button if you love that spoiler sunroof, one of my favorite features about this car. And then as we move along to the back of the vehicle, you have your pretty standard stuff back here, Toyota badging, XSE badging. Taking a look at the tail light here, that is going to be an LED tail light, LED turn signal, as well as an LED reverse light, which is pretty neat. You have a nice little lip spoiler up here on the XSE version as well. And then down below, you have quad exhaust. If you take a closer look, you'll see that it is actually just two mufflers with 4 outlets, but still looks really, really good. Again, it aids in that sporty intention of what the XSE is supposed to be. But overall, I think this is a really handsome looking car. If I was to get one, it would definitely be specced out like this. This black color, Toyota calls midnight black metallic. And it has a little bit of a blue flake to it when you look up close. But overall, like I said, this is a really good looking car. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trunk space. And coming along to the trunk space here, Toyota says that you get 15.1 cubic feet of space back here. That's going to be a little bit less than its largest competitor, the Honda Accord, which has about 17 cubic feet. But you do get your 60 folding split folding seat. You just pull on these 2 latches back here and you're able to push that forward to gain access to the interior as like a ski pass through if you need any long items in the back of the trunk. And that's about it. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's under the hood. All right, folks, and what we're taking a look at is the carryover V6 engine from the previous XSE V6 versions. Produces 301 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque, automatic to an 8-speed automatic transmission. No CVT in this one, thank goodness. Your miles per gallon is going to be 22 in the city, 32 in the highway. Fuel tank capacity of 15.8 gallons. So pretty standard fare for a V6 engine. But of course, you get that Toyota reliability of this V6 engine. I mean, this thing is almost bulletproof, and it is stuffed in this engine bay, which I love. And let me tell you, it makes some really, really great noises. Let's go ahead and take a listen to it. Woo! If that surprised you as much as it surprised me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you just absolutely loved it, hit that like button as well, just to let me know. Really helps the channel out. But otherwise, guys, that's the outside of the Toyota Camry. Let's go ahead and step into the interior. All right, folks, so as soon as you open the door of this Camry, I'm just going to stand back for a second so you can take a look at this interior. I'll tell you what, camera does it no justice. You really have to see how beautiful this is in real life. But I'm going to go ahead and hop in. Of course, I have the driver's seat in my seating position. Toyota says you get 38 inches of rear seat leg room back here, and it's relatively comfortable. I mean, it's not that supportive of a seat if you're in the corners and you're sitting back here. You're definitely going to be sliding around, but it's a relatively comfortable place to be. You have nice soft touch materials on the door here. Up above, it is a harder plastic, but down on the door, it is a soft touch material. One touch up and down power windows. You have two vents back here as well that can open and close. And then you do have mat pockets on each door, as well as storage in the door. Then as you look up above, you'll notice this panoramic view that you get from this large sunroof that Toyota has. I hate that it has this bar right here, but I love that they actually put a panoramic roof on the inside, because it's the only vehicle in this class that has a panoramic roof. So if that's what you're looking for, if that's important to you, definitely make sure you check out the Toyota Camry. But let's go ahead and take a look at the front seat. All right, folks, so taking a look at the key here, Toyota's corporate key, it does say Toyota Camry on the back. Of course, you have your lock, unlock, a button for the trunk, as well as your panic button. However, with the key in your pocket, you can go ahead and gain access to the vehicle just by placing your hand on the handle. There is an indentation here. If you want to lock it, you just put your finger on that and it'll lock. To unlock, just put your hand behind the handle and it'll unlock for you. And that's how, again, you gain access to the Camry. Now, again, you have this beautiful red interior up front. It's on the seats, on the door, on the dash, as well as the middle console, everywhere you want it to be. And then you have your black contrasting interior bits here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and hop into the Camry, shut the door and get it started up. And put your foot on the brake. There is push button start, of course. And then you have a nice little animation here. Says Camry, changes colors, pretty neat. All right, so the front seat of the Camry is a very well laid out space. I absolutely love it up here, a lot more than I thought I would. For 2021, you do have a few changes here. The biggest is going to be the infotainment screen here. I'll make sure I move over to that and explain it in great detail to you. Now, of course, you do have your window switches. All windows are power, one touch up and down, front and rear. Over here is where you have a couple of buttons that's not going to get a lot of use. That's why Toyota put them over here, but you'll probably press them just a few times. You have your trunk button, your gas button, traction control as well. You do have a nice little coin storage down here. It's not lined with felt, so it will rattle around if you have things in there, so keep that in mind. And as we move along to the gauge here, your steering wheel is wrapped in leather. Very nice, very soft leather. And one thing I love about this interior is everything up front is pretty soft touch materials. No really hard materials in here, no matter where you look. Now, of course, you have your steering wheel controls, paddle shifters as well to control that 8-speed automatic transmission. Have your cruise control over here, as well as all your lane keeping assist buttons here. And then over here is where you control your phone and stereo controls. You have a small 8-inch screen right there in the middle that you can control with the buttons on the steering wheel. Of course, it shows you what you're used to seeing, your audio. System status is just showing you all the safety nannies that you have in this vehicle. And then this is where you control them all. If I had to ding Toyota for one thing, is how many abbreviations that they have for all of their safety systems. If you're not familiar with this stuff, this would be so confusing. BSM, RCTA, RCD, HUD, da-da-da-da-da. It's just a lot. It could be overwhelming, but I tell you, once you set this stuff up, it's probably rare that you will actually change it. Toyota also has a head-up display on this vehicle. Let me go ahead and cut that on for you. There you go. And I don't know if you can really see it well on camera, but they do have a head-up display. I'm revving the engine so you can see the RPM move to kind of help your eyes get to it. Plus, it sounds good. But you do have a head-up display as well on this vehicle, so that is pretty neat. And then moving along to the infotainment screen here. Now again, this is brand new for 2021. It's no longer integrated in the dash. They have it tacked on, this tacked on tablet style that you're so used to seeing nowadays. It is covered in piano black, which I am not a fan of. It gets very dirty, but covered in piano black. But you do have physical buttons for your most important things: home, menu, audio, map, seek, everything. You have everything that's important. You have a physical button for. Placing this thing into reverse here, of course, you have your rear view camera. The graphics on this camera is horrendous. That's the only word I could really use for it, guys. It's 2021 and it is terrible. I don't know why they make it look so old school. I mean, you can make out what it is, but barely. But of course, you do again have your rear view camera. It does have trajectory as well, so turn the wheel, you do have different lines, and then you do have your lines to help you line up, and then you have a wide angle as well as a standard angle. Now this does have the upgraded JBL audio system. Stick around for the audio test for that. And then moving down below, you have your climate controls. Simple climate control, that's all you need. Just buttons, a couple of buttons and a few knobs, and you're good to go. Driver and passenger climate control as well. And then as we move further down below, you have your USB charge port here, as well as a 12 volt, which is really nice. And then you also have a wireless charging system here. Under that wireless charging system is some additional storage should you need it. Not that deep, but some additional storage should you need it. And if you want that wireless system back, you just pull that back up. And one more thing I'm going to ding this car for is I'm happy it does have a wireless system, but if you place your phone here, it's not secure at all. Once you start driving around, it just slides everywhere and it won't charge unless really you're parked. But nice that they do offer it in the vehicle. Here is your gear shift lever here, PRND, got your 2 cup holders, and then you have your drive mode. So you have eco, normal, as well as sport. Then you have a brake hold feature. If you're not familiar with that, say you're sitting at a drive-through, sitting in traffic, if you press this button and then put your foot all the way down on the brake, it'll allow you to let go of the brake and the car will continue to hold the brake automatically for a predetermined amount of time. So it's a really, really neat feature. And then of course you have your automatic parking brake here. Coming further down, you have your heated seats, and y'all know I love some heated seats, but this is probably the worst heated seat that I have ever. It's been on this whole time, and I mean, you barely feel it. I was driving last night. I was driving as soon as I got the car with the heated seat on, and I just did not feel it. So if that's important to you, definitely make sure you try that out. Then of course you have storage space down in here. This is my camera equipment to kind of show you how deep it is down in there. And then you have 2 more ports for charging in the middle console. Coming along to the passenger side, here is your glove compartment. It is damped, not lined with felt, so again, think about that for rattling around. And then on your passenger door, you do have more storage as well. Now coming along to the roof panel is where you can control your panoramic sunroof. You have your shade control as well as the sliding control for the roof, and if you want to let it back, it is press and hold, one touch, and the roof slides back. So definitely probably my favorite part of the vehicle, which is that roof. Now, aside from some technology challenges, the seats are relatively comfortable. Again, they are beautiful in the color that they are. And you do have some nice features up here as well. But let's go ahead and get into the drive of the XSE Camry. All right, folks, setting out here in the 2021 Toyota Camry XSE V6. Now this car does have 3 different drive modes. We have eco, normal, and sport. And I always like to drive how I would drive if I owned the vehicle, so sport mode it is. I also have my phone in the on the portable charger. You know, as I talked about earlier, how the portable charger is not really in the best spot because it allows your phone to slide around, so you may notice that. Just a little bit more of a real world test. Of course, we're going to do surface streets, highway, audio tests, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the Camry. And now here I'm going to get on the highway and I'm going to give it a little gas as I go up this hill here. And the first thing you'll notice, foot's to the ground. So this Camry is mounted to a 8-speed automatic transmission. It's not the quickest to kick down, even in sport mode. In sport mode, you're going to notice that the steering gets a little heavier. The throttle gets a little bit more touchier than, say, if you were in, you really notice it in eco mode versus sport mode. In normal mode, it's not as noticeable. So it is a little slow to kick down, and it's 8 gears, so sometimes it does hunt a little bit, but not terribly. Gave it a little gas in that corner here. Now I was able to review the Honda Accord, and I'll tell you one thing, the Honda Accord is definitely a lot more sportier. With this XSE package, you do get a sport tune suspension, as Toyota puts it, and that's really going to be, as far as driving dynamics, the biggest difference between the XSE and the normal Camry. Road noise is pretty on par for the class of vehicle. Seat comfort is actually really good. These seats are absolutely comfortable, no matter what color you decide to get them in. They have black, gray, and then of course you have this gorgeous, beautiful red that I have. No matter what color, it's still going to be the same seat. It could have a little bit more bolstering, especially on the sides. Again, V6 engine, XSE package, you would think those little small things would be added on, but above all else, this is a family sedan, you know, with a little bit of sport injected into it. It's not a sports sedan, and that's really what I wanted to find out. If you get a V6 in a Camry, is it going to be considered a sportier sedan? Now this Camry does come with a couple of driver assistance features. It does have radar cruise control and also a lane keeping assist. I'm not going to call it a self-driving system, but it definitely will hit corners and follow behind the car at a predetermined amount of space. It's not the worst system I've ever used, but it's definitely not in the top 5. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this on. To cut this on, you just set your cruise control on the screen. It'll say radar cruise active, and then you click set. This button here controls the distance between the car, your car, and the other car ahead of you, and then you cut on the steering assist, make sure that's active and the lane centering active, and then the car will essentially drive itself. So I'll hold my hands here so you can kind of get an idea of what it will do. I have the speed limit set to 75. It'll tell you to hold the steering wheel on occasion, but when it starts getting into corners and trying to modulate the speed, you can tell the system gets a little confused. So let's see here. It's beeping, saying that it notices there's a lane. It's handling it a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take control now, because I'm not a big fan of this system. You know, when you have the competition like the Hyundai Sonata, which their automatic driving system is amazing. The Honda Accord also has the system as well. That's also just a smidge better than I think this one. Will it do it? Yes. Does it feel safe? Not so much. Toyota definitely has a lot of work to do as far as autonomous driving systems go. All right, so we're gonna exit here into a nice little curve. Ooh. All right, now will the car do it? Yes. Is it happy about doing it? Not so much. You can really feel a lot of body roll, a lot of body lean. Compared to the regular Camry, it's not as softly sprung, so it's not going to be, you know, if you had an LE version or an XLE, it's not going to be as softly sprung as those. It definitely feels a little bit tighter, but it also doesn't feel excited that you're pushing it as hard as you're pushing it. So definitely something to consider. All right, so I have the car in sport mode, all nannies off, and I'm going to go ahead and give it some gas. Wow. Who knew a Camry would burn out? Now I'll say 301 horsepower. doesn't feel like, when you hear that number, you just imagine something just being a rocket ship, especially a four-door sedan. But 267 pound-feet of torque. I think that torque figure is what we're really hoping for. That's going to put you back in your seat. And this car doesn't quite do that. Is it fast? I would say it's quick. It's more so quick than fast. I would never guess 301 horsepower. If I had to give it a number, I would say it feels more about 270 or so. On the highway, it also doesn't pull as hard as you think it would, but it definitely does do its job. All right, folks, so it wouldn't be a downshift pass review without doing an audio test. Of course, as I said earlier, this is the JBL audio system, which is an upgraded audio system for the Toyota Camry. It comes standard in the XSE V6. This is a fully loaded model. So let's go ahead and take a listen to it. At the same time, I'm going to allow the car to kind of self-drive a little bit so you can get an idea of how that works when it's in its self-driving mode on the highway. So let's get started. So what you guys think about that stereo system? I think it's actually really good. If I was to get a Camry, it would definitely have to have that JBL audio system. Even with the bass all the way up, treble up a little bit, and you want to cut the mid up just halfway, there isn't much distortion. You can cut the volume up all the way, and there's really not much distortion to it. The bass can be a little boomy if you cut it up too loud, but for an upgraded audio system, I think it's definitely worth the money. And how about that autopilot system? If you appreciate seeing those two things together, definitely hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button if you love that JBL audio system, just to let me know. I also cut on that heads up display. I don't know if you're able to see it on the screen. Hopefully you are. All right, guys, and just rolling into my final thoughts on the 2021 Toyota Camry XSE. This is an awesome automobile. I actually truly understand why this is the best-selling sedan in the country. It's just a great all-around vehicle. It does everything just so considerably well, and for someone like me who appreciates having something a little bit sportier, for them to add this to the portfolio of the Camry is completely necessary. You get relatively decent handling, you get great power, the brakes feel all right, your seats are comfortable. Even in this sweeper here, let's see, I'm gonna give it some gas and go through here. And I mean, it just feels good. It doesn't feel as planted as, say, you know, a Kia Stinger or something like that, a rear-wheel drive car, or even the Honda Accord. But for a Camry, it does it very well. And above all else, with this V6 engine, you're gonna have that Toyota reliability. And you know what? When you're purchasing a Toyota, that's what you're really purchasing, is that reliability. So you get all that fun, all the characteristics, all the character of this car in a complete reliable package that you know you can just count on day after day. All right, folks, and that is the 2021 Toyota Camry XSE V6. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you learned something new, also hit that like button as well. It helps the algorithm, and it also helps me to continue to get dope vehicles like this one here. And as always, I appreciate you for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my socials, so that's Instagram as well as TikTok. Subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends. I appreciate it so much, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.